Thank the Lord we living it. A springboard we giving it. RKL experience. New money we touching. New goals we crushing. RKL experience. Thank the Lord we living it. A springboard we giving it. RKL experience. New money we touching. New goals we crushing. A new vibe go crusher. The topic discusser.
Welcome to the RKL experience.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the RKL experience. It's your boy Ryan, and I am super excited about today's show. Now, check this out. When I do these shows, I normally send my guests a couple questions. I normally have a script, and we may get into this, but this one is a little different. This one's a little different. You see, for me, new dad, you guys know Dallas and Jackson. So I'm a father now. So a lot of things are seeming and are becoming a reality to me now as a dad. So I wanted to do a show speaking about fatherhood. And I couldn't just take my word for it. I had to go to one of my real close friends who's a father, and not just a father. He's also a husband. And when I think of the word creative, he comes to mind. So I had one person in mind, and I really wanted to just dig a little deeper into this fatherhood thing. Because like I said, seeing it from the outside, you hear, different myths and legends of the father or the absent father, or the stepfather, or whatever the case. But I really want to have genuine conversation with a real good father, a real good dad, and one of my close friends. But enough about the introduction. I really want to get him on here. So without further ado, I want to introduce to some, reintroduce to others, my close friend, Tru Osborne. True, what it do, man?
It's the vibe. We at the RKL experience, bro.
We
Been a
are.
long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. Now, before we begin,
Oh, salute. It's that time already?
it's that time. Grab your glass. Now, quick story. What we're drinking here is called Jam Jar.
Jam jar. Yeah, South African wine.
South African wine that you put me on to.
Yeah, man.
And ever since then, I couldn't get enough. So shout out to you for this.
Salute to Jam
Thank you
jar.
for being on the show.
Let's go
Now that we got that out the way,
to the work.
let's get right to it. Being a dad, what would you say is your biggest joy in actually being a father?
That's a great question. I think my biggest joy in being a father is watching my children surpass me leaps and bounds. Every opportunity I get to see Titan create a song like Student of the Month, boy. Yeah, it's the Student of the Month, boy. Like, I got real industry friends that's like, they hit me up on a weekly basis like, yo, I was feeling real down today. And I went back to Titan Student of the Month video. Like, yo, when y'all gonna drop that? When y'all gonna put that out? Like, I think that is brilliant. Like, to see my daughter Thunder express herself freely, like as a powerful young Black woman, like getting to watch my legacy, my influence, and my impact multiply in front of me is probably like God's greatest gift to me ever.
Wow. And that song was amazing. When you put
Yeah,
that
it's
song
next
out,
level.
I promise you, we were watching it in the crib, and you could tell that, artistry is in your children's DNA.
Thank you,
for
man.
sure. But I did want to ask you this. Were you around, a lot of fatherly figures growing up? Did you have a community of fatherly figures? Or did this come like natural to you once you became a father? And I ask that because no one is prepared
Yeah.
in being a mother or father. There's no
Right.
manual. There's people that may give advice, but that may work for you. It's not going
Right.
to work for me. But was this like a natural thing when, Titan came about and Thunder, and now it's just,
You
oh,
just
I'm
had
in,
it.
yeah. Or did you have that community of fathers growing up?
Yeah, bro. I think like one of the common misconceptions of being a father
Hmm.
is that you have to have great people around you to know how to do it, right? And I think that it helps to
Hmm.
have that. Like, I have a great father, right? And I think to answer your question directly, yeah, I had a lot of strong male influences in my life, but most of them I chose.
Mm.
It wasn't like a bunch of people trying to take me up under their wing. I had like a pastor here or there
Yeah.
show me how to get a suit. I had another friend of my mom's, try to teach me about the industry. I had, my own dad is a very chill dude. He taught me about how to appreciate women in nature, like how to be confident in myself. But I think ultimately when your kids show up on the scene, bro, like your children,
Hmm.
you don't really need anybody else to tell you how to love them. It's something like
Wow.
innate. It's
Hmm.
something visceral. Like it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's really like a nature thing
Okay.
that comes out of you. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
a very core experience. It's like I don't want anyone to have to show you love without me showing it to you first.
Wow.
And that gets really hard as a dad because while I'm loving you, I also have to protect you.
Hmm.
And I also have to teach you. And I also have to correct you.
Yeah.
And those things can oftentimes not look like love when they're handled with pride and arrogance and stress, which is all things that dads can very easily feel,
Tell me about it.
Like it's a part of us naturally as men to just be like really bold and confident and strong-willed and
Hmm.
strong-minded. And sometimes those things can come out, as tough,
Yeah.
as tough love rather than soft love. But I feel that my influences, whether positive or negative,
Hmm.
made it possible for me to know exactly what I wanted to show my children, what kind of dad I wanted to be for my children.
Wow. I don't think I was ready for that response, but
It's the RKL
I'm
experience.
gonna have
We
to
out here.
rewind this back and really dissect that because that was powerful. Um, and you said something talking about like superheroes and being that
Yeah.
for your children. Now, I'll be the first one to say it. Mothers are the real MVPs.
MVPs. That's it.
You
It's
know,
game over.
Kevin Durant said it in his MVP speech. Mom, you're the real MVP.
Yeah.
And I wholeheartedly agree. Like moms of the world, they are the rock, especially in their children's lives. But I do want to ask you this, because, like I said, before being a father, a lot of the stories that I heard about fathers were that he was probably not there.
Right.
I saw him on the weekends. I didn't see him at all. I heard a lot of those different stories, and now that I am a father that's present every day, just like yourself, do you think the father like us? Do you think we get our fair share of like acknowledgement going through all of the negative nuances of fathers that we've heard in the past? Do you feel like yourself you get the fair share of acknowledgement just for the things that, like giving a bath or
Yeah.
changing diapers or cooking? Like I text you this morning,
Right.
you sent me a picture of breakfast that you
Yeah,
made.
bro.
um so
And we was doing the same
and
thing.
we both made pancakes
Yeah.
for our kids this morning. So do you think a dad, an everyday dad, gets his fair share of that acknowledgement, because it is important to
Yeah.
hear? It is important. Do you think that they receive that?
I'm gonna tell you right now, we do not. That's the simple answer. We do not get our fair share of acknowledgement, Ryan. But I think at the same time, uh, I kind of have figured out why we don't get the fair share of acknowledgement.
Mm,
And you spoke to it at the beginning of the conversation, like moms are the real MVP.
hmm.
Like they're the ones that really do that nitty gritty work while we out making the bacon. It doesn't minimize the work that we do, right?
Yeah.
And I'm never gonna be like a advocate for not acknowledging the impact of both roles within a relationship, right? But like, I have a phenomenal wife. Shout out to Belle Ray and Vocabulary, right?
Bell.
And what's different, I could tell you this right now, like, my wife is a soul care coach. So a lot of her experience is helping others find out how to navigate difficult conversations, how to work in relationship. She has a whole brand called Vocabulary that's dedicated to empowering Black women. I don't see a lot of that for men. Yeah, I don't see those. Kier Gaines is like one of my favorite social media influencers because he really does a great job at acknowledging the brothers, right? And he's a Black dad as well, so he gets to really show us what it means to have a healthy mindset and operate as a Black father. But there's something that you brought up that I think is important, is like, what is that reason that Black dads especially don't really get the acknowledgement that I feel we need? And I think it's because our women for too long have carried the brunt of the responsibility.
Yeah.
That they feel like, why am I celebrating you for something you should have already been doing? Right? And that gets difficult. It's not a fun conversation to have, right? But I think that our idea of generational roles and responsibilities have become vitally skewed, right? Because we were raised, a lot of us, in this mentality that it is not a partnership, that it's women do this, men do this. But these modern women, bro, they not trying to hear that at this point. They're like, listen, we're doing it together. I don't care if you got to change the diaper, if you got to do the laundry, you got to wash the dishes, you got to cook the food, and you still need to pay for my nails to get done and pay for my $600 lace front and you got to do it all at this point. And I'm not going to hold you. It's difficult for the man, right? Because we're under insane amounts of pressure from society, right? From our relationships, from our own expectations, right? And we haven't developed a system of acknowledgement that allows us to feel safe within what we already do. And I think if I could share anything with the queens today, it's that while you are managing your expectations of your king, be sure to affirm him, right? Which is a love language. And we talk about that often, bro, about love languages. But affirmation is a love language. And many men have that love language because we're expected to handle everything with a smile on our faces, peacefully, calmly. But we need affirmation and respect so that we can feel motivated to do those things from a healthy place. And you have the power to do that. Give us a kiss on the cheek, little steak dinner, add a little sazon on that kale that you want us to eat healthy. Give me a little spice on that. Serve that kale in some lingerie, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna motivate me to want to get up and do all the things I need to do. Like, yeah, I'm gonna get that baby a bath tonight, boy, because you done gave me all the energy I needed, to make it through another week. So I just feel like it's important that we begin a conversation. I don't feel like we're there yet, Ryan. I feel like we deserve, actually, relationships, especially the Black family deserves to begin a conversation, to start a conversation about what shared experience looks like within a relationship.
Yeah.
So that our children don't suffer from the burnout of either side of the spectrum.
Wow. And that is critical. Like, I have a 3-year-old now, Dallas.
It's my boy.
And
Dallas and Jackson, they my boys.
yeah,
man.
they definitely, but they're sponges. They can sense
Right.
when things are going right,
Right.
when things are going wrong, when there's a power struggle.
Right.
Like, just the other day, we both put our boys to sleep. We're in the bedroom putting them to sleep. But then, my fiance Tatiana, she may whisper to me, after they go to sleep, the dishes got to get done. So I'm like, yes,
Tati.
yes, I understand, but I get
It's a
it.
blow to the jugular.
I get it. She's at home with them all day, working from home and being mom. So that's where the whole superhero notion comes from. But here's the thing.
And before you even get to
Go
that,
ahead.
because you brought up superheroes earlier, and I didn't get a chance to speak to it, but it's like even Superman had to be Clark Kent.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like
Mhm.
Batman had to be Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm actually a Marvel fan, but DC works best for this analogy. So it's like, I just think that it's vital to remember, like, nobody, no superhero,
Mm-hmm.
right, is able to be that superhero all the time.
Yeah.
They still had to explore those very core competencies as humans in order to better understand the people that they were called to save.
Wow.
So if in relationship our only mindset is to save, oh, I gotta do that, and yo, it's the responsibility of the king to help the queen understand, like, yo, you gotta sit down. You need to chill. Just because you have a mindset of get it all done
Yeah.
doesn't give you the right to project that mindset onto me as your king,
Mm-hmm.
right, who's overseeing the functionality of this entire family. It doesn't give you the right to just say, oh, because I'm getting it all done, you need to get it all done too. No, there's a way for us to do that together so that no one, and that's what I was speaking to about that collective burnout, is that no one has the responsibility or the right to say to their partner, because I'm stressed and burnt out, you need to be stressed and burnt out too. My wife and I teach this concept that somebody has to be on the love seat,
Yeah.
right? Like somebody has to be on the love seat. Either I'm gonna be on the love seat for you, you're gonna be on the love seat for me, or someone has to come and be on the love seat for us both. That's when you need to call on the grandmas and
Yeah.
the godparents. We really don't pull on our godparents enough, bro. Like we be choosing like 7 of them and nobody gets the call. You know what I'm
Wow.
saying? So it's like we got to really create a system of community for the Black family that allows no one to experience burnout, because then the children suffer first.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so let go of that superhero syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Like we really we get to gift ourselves with grace, bro. For real, just grace and peace and room to like mess up sometimes. Nobody hands you a rule book when you become a parent.
Mm-hmm.
No, them kids just pop out and then they want you for everything.
We know.
Right? I'm preaching
We
to the
know.
choir. But for all of y'all parents right now, like, it's the truth. Like, you really get to give yourself a moment to just be okay with the fact that you're doing your best where you are, and if you understand that for the truth that it is, then you're going to have way more opportunities to connect with your kids in a vulnerable and passionate level, because they're learning things for the first time too. And you got to consider, am I teaching you how to navigate this for your future? Or am I showing you that the only way you can experience love is through stress and overwhelm and pain, So, give yourself a chance to be human. That's my encouragement to parents, bro.
Listen, his name is not True just because, okay?
Salute, bro.
His name is not
that's
True
cheer-worthy.
just because. He spoke about superheroes, and what came to mind, and we're gonna get off this, with these heroes taking human form. And there's a book out called the Good Book,
Yeah.
where the
Yeah.
biggest superhero of all,
Right.
he had to come in human form and just be vulnerable and kick it with us common folk for a few.
It's a fact.
So that's been happening for the longest, and it's gonna continue. But check this out, because we're speaking to the father, like myself, like yourself, and those fathers out there. But there's also another side of being a father,
Right.
and there's that individual who may want to be in their child's life, more so than they are.
Right.
Whether it's relationship wise or, whatever the case may be. So what would you say to that young man, that dad, that father who's not in their child's life as much as they may want to be, but for whatever reasons, they're not? What would be some advice that you would give to those gentlemen out there?
Yeah. I think for starters, I'd say you get to be patient with yourself, and you get to acknowledge all the reasons why you aren't where you want to be. And I think for men is really vital that we practice reflection a lot more. Like we actually really do the deep introspective work to say, where am I? How did I get here? And where am I looking to go from this place, right? And my heart breaks for those dads. Because unfortunately, a lot of women feel as though dads who are not in their children's lives in the way that they want to be, that they don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't lie that there probably are a couple of brothers that's like,
Yeah.
it's not my problem. You know what I'm saying? But I like to think about what got people to that place, right? And if we have look at it this way. If we had a tumultuous relationship, then I'm not going to be inspired or empowered by the result of that relationship, whether it's a child, a business, or anything, right? That's going to be a trauma trigger for me.
Yeah.
Every time I see that child, I'm going to see all the things that we went through. You understand? And this is not an excuse for men who are like stepping out on their responsibility, because I don't promote that, right? Like I believe that it's our responsibility as men to stick it out, like to work it out. Even if we can't work out the relationship, it's your responsibility to develop a relationship with your children that allows them to know like the value that they have, right? As being your seed in the earth, you know? So I think my ultimate message would be, do what you can. You understand? Maybe you don't have all the money that you want right now. Maybe you don't have the wisdom, you know, or the strategy to build relationship because you never saw it yourself, right? My encouragement is like, think about the type of relationship you wanted to have. Think about the types of relationships that you're interested in. How can you build that with your children? Because they need you, bro. Like they need you more than they've needed anything else in their entire lives. They need that male and masculine presence to let them know that they are safe, that they're valuable, and that nobody loves them more than you love them. And I know that may be difficult considering all the things you've been through, but nobody is capable of loving your children better than you. So if there's support that you need with that, please send a DM to @Tru Osborne or @the Osborne Love. And like, we would love to walk you through that process. Send it to the RKL experience. Like, we'd love to get connected with whoever, you know, sends those messages. Like sometimes you just need support because you don't know what it looks like. You don't know how to get to the other side of that space. So, but it's not easy. Yeah. It's not easy for the dad. It's not easy for the mom. It's definitely not easy for the child.
So true.
What's the vibe, bro? I feel like you about to kick in a high gear. I don't know. These questions already been mighty difficult.
Oh man. Where's my camera?
You right here.
Where's my camera? I told y'all I sent him some questions that we may or may not get into.
These joints is hard.
I know this man right here. I know that he has a wealth of knowledge. I know that we can talk for hours.
We do naturally.
We do. He'll come over to the house. We'll, you know, whatever the case. But I wanted to, because his time is limited. I have friends with limited time, and I don't want to take anyone's time, you know, for granted. But I wanted to just kick it off talking about fatherhood, and we're gonna get back into this. I already know we're gonna really tackle this fatherhood subject because it's important, like you said.
Yeah,
it's important information. It's important experiences. It's important for people to see that, hey, it's possible. You don't have to be a millionaire. You don't have to be whatever.
It's the little things that count.
It's the little things.
Right.
It's the small things that make a world of a difference. But I do want to like split you in half on today, if that's okay.
All right.
His name is Tru Osborne, and that says a lot in itself. He's true to many things. He's true to being a dad, but he's also a true creative. A true creative.
Thank you, bro.
And when I met Tru, quick story. When I met him, first day, you know, we were working together. I met him, and you know, I heard good news about him, good things about him, and I heard that he could sing.
He met me, by the way. I didn't have a chance to meet him. He knew about me. I didn't know nothing about him.
So
we're gonna tell both sides of this
We're
story.
gonna
This is
tell both
hilarious.
sides. All right. So I heard that he could sing. You know, he'll tell you something else. My show, my story. Even though he's gonna jump right in and tell the truth. But I put him on the spot right then and there. You know, new person, yo, he could sing. When I tell you, he didn't hesitate, he didn't waver. He blew. We were in a big auditorium. He blew
Wow,
the
bro.
place down.
Thank you, man.
And from then I noticed that was just the surface of what it means to be a creative. Like he's to this day telling me and showing me what it takes and what it means to be a creative. So I just wanted to, you know, split you in half and get into that side about being a creative. What does that actually mean to you? Being a creative, what does that mean to you?
That's such a layered question, right? For any creative. I think being a creative, like Nina Simone said, is reflecting the times that you're living in.
Mm,
Being a creative means reflecting the times that you're living in. And if I had to speak personally to my idea of what being a creative is all about, I think it has everything to do with being honest
mm-hmm.
about your experience, your personal experience through the age that you have influence inside of, right? Because every artist has a different story. And I think to be a true creative, you really have to be willing to explore the limits and the edges. I don't like limits as a word
Mm-hmm.
personally, but I would say the boundaries. There we go. The
Okay.
boundaries of your own story. And then I think that you have to be mindful about how you decide to present those experiences to other people.
Wow.
Like creatives are channels, bro. Like we are channeling generational experience
Yeah.
to the rest of the world.
And you made mention of Nina Simone,
Yeah, she's a
which
legend.
is crazy because I was just listening to her last night.
Wow.
I never really, you know, got into her. I know who she is, of course,
Right.
but just last night, as I was, you know, trying to come up with some questions to ask you
Yeah.
that I never came up with because
Yeah.
you're Tru Osborne. But I started reading about her story and how she like transcended through the civil rights and
Yeah.
just made music that was so powerful
Right.
at that time and still is today. Still is today.
It's a fact.
So shout out to Nina Simone
It's a fact
and
to her family, to her legacy, for real.
definitely.
Lettucey is actually about to do a show at Carnegie Hall. Shout out to Lettucey, the queen.
Shout out to
Um,
Lettucey.
She's about to do a show at Carnegie Hall in honor of Nina Simone,
Mm.
like, and her songs and her messages. So if you got a chance to go and check out those Carnegie Hall tickets with Lettucey featuring the story and life of Nina Simone, go make sure you do that. Yeah.
Man, this man here. Now, I know you don't like talking about yourself, but
I
I'm
really
gonna
don't.
I know you don't. But we all want to know.
Okay.
I mentioned that, you know, you can sing. He's an artist. Like an artist. He's a music artist. A musical genius, I might add.
Dang, bro, no pressure.
No pressure, no pressure. But in terms of being a creative, that's just one of your outlets.
Yeah,
I've seen you paint before.
that's creative.
I've seen you put together shows, plays, musicals.
Yeah, creative.
I've seen you take children and have them come up with ideas on material and logos and print. And
Creative.
I've seen listen, throughout the years, I've seen something else checked off on the Tru Osborne list, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. I've seen you perform in sold out stadiums.
Yeah.
So my question I want to ask you is, for each of your, outlets,
Yeah.
each of your creative outlets, do they serve different purposes? Like when you're doing, I heard some artists when they
Such a good
paint,
question.
it takes them back or it calms them down.
Yeah.
Some people when they sing, it like they release,
Right.
something. So for each, and not for each because we'll be here for hours.
Nah, but I feel
But
what you're
do they
saying.
serve different purposes?
I think that's such a great question because it does. It serves a bunch of different purposes and the same purpose at the same time, you know? I am a creative and I said I don't like the word limits,
Yeah.
right? Because I believe that my purpose in life is to be creative. And because my purpose is to be creative, then I do creative things.
Mhm.
And because I do creative things, I see creative results. And that is the way that I live my life. I'm not here to try to. I used to hate when I was young. A lot of people used to be like, oh, you're a jack of all trades, but a jack of all trades is a master of none.
Mm.
I used to hate that.
Mm-hmm.
It never empowered me, largely because the full quote is that a jack of all trades is a master of none, but a master of some is better than a master of none.
I've never known the full quote.
Yeah,
Thank you.
like it's like essentially is like, a master of some is better than a master of one. Is like I rather, as a creative,
Mhm.
explore all of the ways in which I can be creative,
Mhm.
and all of the ways that I can express creative impact,
Mhm.
than just try to focus on like one way of being a creative. For me, that's not like true creativity.
Yeah.
And I think it's true discipline. I think it's important for a creative to have a main discipline. But it serves multiple purposes because I'm a multidimensional being. Like when I'm sad, sometimes I want to sing. But if singing is bringing up an emotion that I'm not ready to face, then I'm going to paint instead.
Mhm.
And if I'm placed in a room full of 250 children
Mhm.
who are literally bouncing off of the walls in a school,
Yeah.
you understand, and they have no direction, then I'm going to pull on every creative gift I have
Mhm.
in order to bring some type of order and structure to those 250 young boys, at Imagine Me Leadership Charter School.
I've seen it.
Okay?
I've seen it done.
Like whether that's like, hey, let's all write a song right now. Let's make a beat. Let's paint a picture. Let's, design a clothing line. Like whatever I need to do to empower those young people to feel a sense of structured experience, then I'm gonna do that. An immersive experience, I'm gonna do that. If I'm in a place that, like, let's say I'm partnering with a business that is experiencing a decrease in sales, right?
Mhm.
Then I'm gonna take one of their products, I'm gonna go outside, and I'm gonna start a I was about to say I'm gonna aggressively like promote that product, but yeah, maybe that too. Like I might aggressively promote that product with a song or by just like going and talking to people randomly and like, yo, your hands are dry right now, bro. You need this body butter. Like, come feel this body butter. It's whipped. It's all natural. It has essential oils in it. Like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. But guess what? I'm an introvert, actually.
Whoa.
Like, I'm actually an introvert. I do not necessarily enjoy being around a lot of people. Like, and I don't, as much as I'm speaking right now on your podcast, I don't enjoy talking a lot. Like,
Wow.
however, I'm a creative.
Yeah.
And with creativity comes the responsibility to allow my voice to be heard for the area that I have influence in, and that is creativity. So every issue I approach from a creative perspective
Mhm.
so that I can yield a creative result.
That's super dope. That's super dope.
Thank you, bro. I
Intro-
see you the same way, so it's like,
Introvert, I would have never. I done
Yeah, it's the
seen this
truth, though.
man. Yeah.
it's the truth. I don't do well in crowds. I'm socially awkward. Like, I never know how to do small talk. Like, if you ask me a question, I can answer that question clearly and thoughtfully because I spend so much time by myself considering the impact of my creativity. You know, like that's what allows me to do this stuff. Like I'm a nerd, bro. Like I'm a geek. I watch anime. Like like I'm really good with some talenti and like a mad plush blanket
Yeah.
and nobody bothering me. Like for real.
So that would be like your ideal Saturday morning.
Bro, just leave me alone.
Just leave me alone.
Like when I want community, then I know exactly what I need to do to put myself in community, but I don't like being forced into community.
Okay. So I have a question for you.
What's up, bro?
Don't I? So we're in this world, you know. You mentioned anime, so we're in this world, and
Don't
obviously,
say nothing bad about anime. I get that enough at home, bro.
No, I don't know much about it. You know, I know Dragon Ball Z and
That's the greatest anime that has ever been
Hunter
made.
x Hunter.
My number one anime out of my top 3, for real.
I don't know what that means, but we're all in this world, and obviously everything was created. You know,
Yeah.
whatever religion you are, whatever you believe
Doesn't
in,
matter.
we can see that everything under the sun was created.
Yeah.
So with that being said, it tells me that there has to have been a master creator
Yeah.
to even think, oh, let me
To introduce
create
the concept of
Yeah.
creativity.
let me
right?
create this animal and give it wings and then it'll later be known as a
Yeah, bro.
bird and it'll
That's
fly
right.
the skies, and it was the ultimate creator.
Yeah.
So with that being said, do you believe that everybody within this creation, do you believe everybody is meant to be a creative in some point? And if so, why don't many people tap into that side? Like some
Yeah.
people will rather be miserable doing
Yeah,
something
bro.
that they hate to do
Yeah.
than to just say, "Oh, let me try to just, do something I want to do something that I
Yeah.
may love doing." Why? So it's a two-part question. Do you
Yeah.
think everybody was meant to be a creative in some way?
Let me
And-
answer that first.
Answer that first.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And so right now I'm developing a program called the Creators Academy of the Arts. And I just developed a whole business plan for this program. I developed a website. Y'all could go check out the Creators Academy for the Arts.org.
Mhm.
And like it's the question that kept me up at night for weeks on end throughout my entire master's degree program at the illustrious Berklee School of Music, NYC, at the Power Station. Shout out to Steven Weber,
Let's get
the
it.
executive director to that, to Will Wells and Marilee James, my program directors. My master's degree is in creative media and technology. And my focus was songwriting and production. My entire mentality and my study was around innovation
Okay.
and how we create and why we create, right?
hmm
And I feel this question, it literally kept me up at night for a year, maybe even, into this year. And what I learned through study is that 95% of the human population are actually creative geniuses. 95% is the statistic.
Wow.
95, and I didn't just say they're creatives. 95% of the human
geniuses. Wow.
population actually exist as creative geniuses. Right?
Wow.
Like in the stronger percentiles of the IQ curve, you are creative geniuses.
hmm
Here's the difficulty. 75% of that 95 are terrified to operate in that creativity for one reason or another. And your question is why
hmm
are they terrified to do that? And my simple answer is fear.
Fear. Fear.
False evidence appearing real, bro. Somewhere along your journey, somebody told you that you weren't enough, that you weren't capable, that it would be too hard. Ooh, my favorite one, that you wouldn't make enough money doing it. You wouldn't be able to take care of your family.
Mhm.
doing
Get a
it,
real job.
and that you needed something to fall back on. I
Mhm.
hate that phrase, bro.
Yeah.
Like with a burning passion, I hate this idea of a plan B.
Yeah.
Like because I feel like it's a systemic attack against the mind of the Black creative, specifically the Latino creative. You understand, like the minority creative. I feel like it is an attack. An attack. I don't want to get too like activists in this moment, but
Let's get it.
it's like there is an attack against the mind of the Black creative, bro.
Mhm.
You know, and I feel like I exist to stand against that attack. I am a warrior against that attack.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And my whole platform as an artist is to help other artists know, especially Black artists know, everything you need to be creative already exists inside of you. You're a genius. What you may not have right now is strategy
Okay.
on how to allow your genius to be fully realized in community,
Mhm.
right? And even more than that, you may not have the discipline to take strategy and turn it into actionable steps that allow your genius to be expressed. I mean, think about the podcast that we're on right now.
Mhm.
You have a logo for it. You have merch design for it.
Mhm.
You took time to come up with questions to ask me. You understand? You found a brand sponsor. Shout out to Jam Jar Wines. It's my favorite wines. Had it
Jam
at
Jar.
my wedding in 2016.
Mhm.
It was a hit. I've loved it ever since.
Mhm.
You know, like you sent emails, you made phone calls, but how did you gain those skills? And they aren't just skills, they're transferable skills. See, the thing is that we've been taught, have a plan B, go find a real job, go do this, go do that, go be a doctor, go be a lawyer. And we need all those people, right? However, we haven't been taught the value of transferable skills. If you're a creative, then your primary operation in the world is as an entrepreneur,
Yep.
right? Because you have a skill and a gift and a mind and a calling to design systems that may not already exist, and or to design systems that maximize systems that already exist.
Wow.
Right? So if that is your primary operation, then the very next thing that you get to do, right, is to figure out what is the problem that I'm meeting, right? What is the problem that I'm witnessing, that I'm experiencing? You can't do that if you're in a place of judgment about what's happening in the world. You actually get to be in a place of observation and inquiry, right?
Okay.
How can I look at what's happening around me, right, to determine if there's a need for me as a creative in this space? So once I determine what the need is, then I get to ask myself the question, how can I meet that need with the gifts that I have? And it really doesn't matter what your creative operation is, because creativity is designed to reflect the times, right?
Yeah.
So whether you're a podcaster, a vocalist, a songwriter, a producer, a painter, a fashion designer, you know, a teacher, a business person, like every industry has an aspect of creativity assigned to it,
Yeah.
right? Because you said it yourself, RKL, like everything comes out of creativity. There had to be a master creator, you know, in order for us to find ourselves as creators. So when I look at why people don't operationalize creativity and why they feel afraid to lean after it, is because it requires risk as its core like partner
Yeah.
in the process, because you are looking for areas that need your influence, which means that you got to be on 99.999% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are afraid to be on because they're afraid to have their limitations witnessed, right? Because we haven't culturally developed a system of vulnerability that shows people Clark Kent
Yeah.
getting rejected by Lois Lane for like mad long.
Yeah.
Instead, we just think that Clark Kent literally had to take Lois Lane to fly in order for him to even get like
To get a first date.
for him to get a first date. Like Clark Kent himself did not get a date with Lois Lane until mad late in the series. Do you understand what I'm
very
saying?
true.
But he got that date because he developed a confidence about who he was as Clark Kent.
Yeah.
He, even as Superman, he had to see himself as valuable as just a reporter for the Daily Planet.
Mm-hmm.
And once he used that transferable skill, the same skills he was using as a superhero, once he used that as a reporter with the Daily Planet, Lois was like, yo, there's something about these glasses that I'm interested in. Like, let me give Clark a chance. He's so kind. And I feel like creatives go through that. Like, we see everyone else doing the work and we're like, dang, I'm not that yet.
Yeah.
So then I must not be valuable where I am now. But every person that's doing what we consider an inspiration in our field, whatever your respective field is, they started somewhere.
Yeah.
They got rejected a bunch of times, you know? And then that rejection turned into motivation that allowed them to clarify and develop the systems that would allow them to be influential in their field.
Bro.
I'm saying too much too soon?
No.
What was the second half of your question?
No, you answered both.
Oh, wow.
You answered both.
Salute.
You definitely answered both. You mentioned false evidence appearing real. And
Fear, bro. It's a virus. It's worse than COVID.
it is a virus. So here's the thing. Before starting this podcast, I had a little sense of that. Little sense. Tiny sense.
I was there.
You was
remember.
there. How, what, where, when, why. Here's
Yeah.
what I did. Season 1,
Yeah.
I went to Best Buy.
Yeah.
I bought a $99 microphone. I went online. I found a free hosting site.
Right?
I did my whole first series, my whole first season
Yeah.
from my living room.
It's a fact. I have a project called From the Living
You
Room
do.
with Love, right? And I only have one song on that project, and it's called Supernatural Love. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only dropped one
Stop
song.
right there. By the
Oh,
way,
dang.
by the way, that song. So when I proposed at my engagement event, he sang that song live.
For the first time
He
ever,
sang it
actually.
live for the first time, actually.
Because your courage met me in a place where I needed courage. You understand? I wasn't getting calls from the Breakfast Club like, come sing your jam
Shout out to the Breakfast
on a song.
Club.
I don't even know if they heard it yet. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But, and you know, and I'm in circles with like very prominent musicians, right? But I wasn't sending my song out like, yo, can you play my joint? Like, nah, I was conquering fear. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was conquering fear in that moment. And I actually did a live before I ever recorded that song. And in the live, I talked to people about that fear, and I communicated with them how vital it was for me to awaken to this idea that it's not serving me as a creative to not give people the results of my creativity. And I made a commitment in that live, literally in that live. I was low-key on the brink of tears the whole live. I remember it like it was yesterday. And this is during like the height of COVID, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's stuck at home. Everybody's trying to figure out what they're gonna do with the rest of their life.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the zombie apocalypse. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Everything.
everybody was nervous. And I went on live and I had this conversation, and I'm like, yo, you know what I'm realizing is that the reason y'all don't have, everybody's asking me, yo, when you gonna drop some music, when you gonna come out with music? We love how you perform live, but when we gonna get something recorded? And I'm like, yo, to be honest, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm scared that I'm gonna work mad hard to come out with a song and y'all are gonna reject it. You're gonna call it a flop, right? And this is before my master's. This is before I had any training in vocal production and music production, whatever. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And you know what happened? That same night, I was asked to be on a Facebook stream that was being broadcast internationally. It was called the Global Coherence Pulse. Shout out to one of my closest mentors, Teresa, right? And she started this thing where it's like she gathered the most humans on the planet to meditate at one time. And she did it all virtually. It was crazy.
And look,
I was a
you would have
performer.
missed that because of that
'cause
false
of fear.
evidence.
Do you understand?
Appearing to be real.
She asked me, you know, along with one of my closest friends, who her artist name is Just Magic, and she's what we call a heartist. Like, she's someone that facilitates heart-focused prayer performances, like
Okay.
moments when she can really support like the high vibe energy of the world. And she invited me on, and yo, I practiced for a week for this broadcast, and I was gonna sing "Stop this train. I wanna get off and go home again. I can't take this piece I'm losing it." It's a song by
That's all we get? Hold
yeah,
on. Wait.
nah.
Oh, we
Chill,
just,
chill.
I mean, we
I
got a
put
couple
together,
minutes. That's all we
I
get?
put together
Damn.
this whole medley, like, oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Oh, what's going? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I wanted to put together this performance. Yo, I don't think I even got to that performance, bro, because as I'm practicing on a broken guitar that I got for free, that was about to get thrown out for this performance that I've never done. I've never performed virtually before. Like, on this performance that I'm doing, I heard this song come through, and like I barely knew what strings to pluck on the guitar, but I felt like my fingers was moving by themselves.
Wow.
And I felt that master of creation
Yeah.
kind of moving on me to tell this story of, my single Supernatural Love. And the first lyrics is like, you made the heavens, planted the earth, gave us direction, but what was it worth if we don't have love?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like this real mission, like not so much, like I wasn't thinking so much about how I love people. I was thinking about how I love myself, bro. And how if I give into fear
That's
as a
deep.
creative,
That's deep.
how can I expect other people to love something that I don't love?
Yeah.
And that thing being me, that person being me. And that it changed my creativity moving forward. I signed up for grad school, got my master's. I started creating and producing music for myself and others, started writing for others. It led me to Madison Square Garden with WizKid. It led me to like, you understand what I'm saying? Like,
Listen.
all these things started to happen as a result of me saying yes to who I've always been, which is a creative. Go ahead. I already know you going with this.
No. It's like I said, there's layers.
Yeah.
There's layers. I'm glad you did bring up, some of the artists you work with. WizKid, I know you did, LL Cool J and
Yeah.
The Garden, a couple months ago. You did a lot of
WizKid
big
at the Garden, LL Cool J for the NYC homecoming concert after COVID got,
out of here a little bit.
a little bit.
But that's super dope. I do want to ask you, what's next? Like, what's next? I know you got, Supernatural Love, like I said,
Yeah.
sang it live for the first time for my engagement.
Yeah.
What's next? What's coming down the line for Tru? What's next?
Thank you for the most dangerous question for any artist to ever answer, right? Three things. Let me get three things.
You got it.
The first thing is that I released Supernatural Love because I felt like this, and I named the project From the Living Room with Love because I felt like we needed to kind of show emerging artists that you don't need these big studios to be great. Like, slowly yet surely invest in the equipment that you need, record your project in your crib.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Get comfortable with your own safe space first. And so what's next for me is after From the Living Room with Love came out, during COVID, I partnered with Black on Black Entertainment. Shout out to my big bro Gene Tolbert. And I partnered with
What up, Gene?
And I partnered with Designatronics out in Long Island, and we put on a whole production for my birthday. My wife actually put on that, executive produced that show. It was called From the Living Room with Friends, which is on YouTube right now, the full production.
Super dope.
It was one of the only major productions during COVID
Yeah.
that was happening. And so I sang a bunch of songs at that show, had a bunch of amazing artists on that bill. What I would like to do is release some of those unreleased songs from that show, along with From the Living Room with Love, along with Supernatural Love as a full project.
Yeah.
And then I would also, right now I'm working on a project called Black Earth. And it is a sonic journey, an Afrofuturist journey, actually, through Black music in America and the impact of Black music on American culture.
Wow.
And it explores the work by ethnomusicologist Dr. Portia K. Maltsby, where
Okay.
she created this list of African American musical styles and how they developed through history, from the sacred level to the secular level and then to jazz and then the experimental level.
Mhm.
And my mission is to really show how all of those forms of music work hand in hand with each other,
Yeah.
to really destroy this idea of dogma between the sacred music, because I grew up in church, right? So I sing gospel music, but I also grew up listening to funk and jazz and hip hop.
Mhm.
And for me, that music is sacred as well. What people consider secular music is sacred.
Yeah.
And I grew up listening to Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. That is sacred to me as well. So it's like,
Okay.
how do we tell this story where all music and the expression of healthy narratives are sacred to those of us who witness it? So I'm working on this project called Black Earth. I did a prototype of it at my first ever festival called Tribe Fest NYC, which is the third thing. And I used that festival as my thesis experiment during my graduate program at Berklee School of Music here in NYC. And I'm looking to host the second annual Tribe Fest this June. So if there are any artists who are interested in participating in that, you can go to the osbornelove.com and just subscribe and send me a message if you're interested in that.
Super dope.
Or you could sign up at the Creators Academy of the Arts.org, and let me know how you create. And we'd love to get you plugged in with that. And I think those are the three things that are really on my list, is to release a full work of art,
Yeah.
whether it be a live performance, a tour, an experience that expresses from the living room with love,
Yeah.
or from the living room with friends, and then to complete my debut album, which is called Black Earth, and then to host the second annual Tribe Fest NYC. This time I want to do it in Brooklyn, though.
Let's get
I
it.
want to do it in East New York, you know?
Back home, baby.
Yeah, I feel like, and I'm originally from Harlem, but like I've lived in Brooklyn for the last 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
And it's become like a really powerful home for me, you know? So I just want to put like Harlem and East New York on a map in a crazy way, because I feel like the great, no shade to Queens, but y'all got too many street names that I can't really get with right
come
now.
on
So
now.
it's like-
Come on.
Nah, it's that
We got love for Queens.
I wanna
We got
put-
love for Queens.
If I really had my way, bro, to be honest, I would put New York State on a map like no other state has ever seen it before.
New York State,
I
yeah.
feel like it's time for us to get back to that, bro.
There's always a separation.
Yeah,
The
like we're
city.
not working against each other, but like,
Yeah.
yo, let's collaborate again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? New York State, the East Coast, no cap, used to be a whole movement. The East Coast movement used to be the tri-state, used to be New York, Jersey, and Philly, like heavy on the music scene, right, for the North. And then in the South, it used to be Atlanta, Nashville, you know what I'm saying? Like it used to be like some
Florida.
Texas, Florida, right? Like we used to have these real hubs for the black music experience.
Yeah.
And I feel like nobody is stewarding that collective, that community in the way that it needs to. Right now, everybody's just working for themselves. So I want my artistry, being that I got the time to curate it, I want it to be in service to community.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have it here. This is Tru Osborne, the father, the creative.
Wow.
Tru Osborne,
Yeah.
your Instagram. Let's shout it out
It's
real
at
quick.
Tru Osborne, TruOsborne. At Tru Osborne. Again, I mentioned our website, The Osborne Love, www.theosbornelove.com. And then also this amazing program that I'm piloting right now called the Creators Academy of the Arts. That's TheCreatorsOFthearts.org. That way you don't get lost on your way there. Yo, and shout out to the RKL experience for having me, man. I'm
appreciate
so
you.
honored. This is my first like taped podcast, and I'm really
Really?
grateful that I'm doing it with my best friend. you know?
Appreciate it. Appreciate
one
it.
of the godparents of my children. You
Let's
know what I'm
get
saying?
it.
Like I'm really honored to you, your whole family,
Yes.
and that I'm in community with a legendary father like yourself.
Wow, bro.
Who is operating as an entrepreneur, like as a priest, prophet, and provider for his whole family. Like I'm honored that you're my brother. You know, even though you did throw me out on stage on the first day we met
First
each
day.
other with no conversation,
day.
I forgive
No
you.
cap, I did it.
I forgive you, bro. Yeah, it's nothing but love.
Nothing but love.
Let's go.
You've
Y'all
been
make
tuned
sure
in.
y'all tune in to the RKL experience. It's nothing like you've ever seen before. Bro.
Where it's not just a podcast, it's an experience.
Yeah.
Peace. My guy.
Side.